rapaziada, bem-vindos ao Reverse em Casa. Sábado, dia 31 de julho, rolou o tão esperado Tand Invitational. E olha, rolou altas ondas e nós vamos contar tudo o que rolou no campeonato.
Boas, malta. É verdade, infelizmente não pudemos assistir ao Tand Invitational através do YouTube, como era esperado e como nos tinham confirmado, isto porque, segundo a IBC, não haveriam condições necessárias para a transmissão ao vivo e de qualidade no local da prova.
Mas isso faz parte, né, Fábio? Qualquer transmissão, isso tem esse risco de acontecer. E tendo em conta que a IBC é uma organização recente e ainda estão pegando muito ritmo, né? Tem tudo para melhorar nos próximos eventos. Então, mas mesmo assim, vocês aqui na Reverse não vão perder nada. Nós vamos trazer tudo, todas as informações, todas as ondas e ainda mais uma entrevista exclusiva que vamos falar daqui a pouquinho.
É verdade, por isso mantenham-se desse lado e vamos passar para a ação. Alguns dos atletas mais esperados para este evento e previamente confirmados pela IBC não puderam participar no Tand Invitational, entre os quais o André Bote, ele que é referência para muitos neste tipo de ondas, buraco, pesadas, ondas tubulares, e também o João Degod, ele que venceu a etapa anterior, não pôde participar por consequência da Covid-19.
E mesmo assim, né, Fábio, o evento foi um show de surf. Tiveram altas ondas e quem levou a melhor foi o Tristan Roberts, que pegou uma final difícil contra Jared Houston e Iain Campbell, outros dois ex-campeões mundiais. E é ele mesmo, Iain Campbell, que veio conversar com a gente para contar tudo do que rolou no campeonato. Então já vamos chamar ele. Welcome, Iain. How are you doing? And to start, how was the conditions during the event?
It was pretty tough. Usually you want quite a lot of offshore wind there, and there was just no wind whatsoever the whole day. So it got a little bit difficult. It made the water quite bumpy, and obviously that makes it a little bit harder to ride. But there were definitely some crazy waves out there. It was really cool to see the place really get good, and obviously to be running a competition in those kind of conditions where there's a lot going on and there's a lot of good riders in the event. It was awesome to see and really stoked to be a part of it.
So Iain, did you find those perfect tand waves that we are used to see?
Yeah, I definitely got a few. When it came to the semi-finals, I was surfing with Jared Houston and Sasha Stecker and Dylan Mallenberg, and in that heat there were just some incredible waves coming through, and I got some really good barrels.
So Iain, you got a third place at the event, as you said before. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
And what could you have done better in the competition?
I feel that there's maybe a couple waves that I went on within the heat that I maybe should have sat back and waited. My whole kind of mindset about going into the event was to try and get as many waves as I could and go for some big moves and try and get some really good barrels. And I think the conditions kind of really didn't play into that kind of repetition of getting as many waves as I could. So I feel like just being maybe out of the competition for a little bit and not really kind of in that mind space. I think you forget about, what you used to do when we were competing, a couple times every year or, a couple times every couple months. So I think just not being in the competition scene for a while maybe takes that edge away. So I feel like if I'd maybe stuck to a different plan as the one that I had, it might have turned out a little bit differently. But all credit to both Jared and Tristan, because they rode an amazing competition, and it was just really cool to have that group of guys back together, and having Jared in South Africa for the event was really special, and it just made that day so much better.
It's been a long time since you've competed last time on tour. How did you feel at this stage?
Yeah, it's difficult going back. You know, there's a lot of mental shift that you have to make from going from surfing or free surfing back into competition. And this was one thing that it's hard to wrap your mind around it, but as a competitor, just getting back into the water again and starting to surf and get, you know, those waves that you need to get and trying to find the scores, that always just brings back that competition inside of you. And as tough as it was at the start, I really started to get into a rhythm, and as I got into the final, or at least in the semi-finals, it really felt like that competitive nature of myself was kind of being portrayed out there for sure.
How has been your training besides the competitions?
Yeah, I've been working with my team that I have here in Somerset West and in Cape Town, and it's been amazing to kind of get back into that mental shift. It took a lot of work. It's taken me, you know, a couple weeks to kind of get that mental kind of situation back into my head, where I've got to like think about competing and what I really need to do in the water. And you know, it was tough, but at the same time, I've got an amazing team here, and you know, I'm really fortunate to have those guys there and be able to kind of make that mental shift again.
In your opinion, who made the best wave of the event?
I mean, it's, you know, the final was really good. Jared and I in the semi-final really went wave for wave. For me, that was my kind of highlight of the entire event, was just, you know, trading off with Jared in the semi-final. Every time I would catch a wave, he would be on the next one, and you know, we'd just be switching like that, which was really cool. And it's something that'll stick with me for a very long time, very memorable moment. But I would have to say, you know, Tristan in the final, at about 30 minutes, he went and hit that big air forward, which I'm sure you guys have seen photos on social media. It'll probably be uploaded a lot more today. But I think that was probably, you know, the wave that really solidified his win. And I think, you know, you've got to kind of give him credit for going for a big move like that out of the bowl in those conditions. So yeah, I would say that. But you know, the entire day there was just, you know, there was a lot of guys competing. There were a lot of good waves, and it was really tough conditions. So I'd have, you know, everyone out there was doing an amazing job, and I think it was a really good day for bodyboarding, and especially for bodyboarding in South Africa. So I think all in all, everyone won, and it was just a really sick day.
So Iain, how was the organization during the event due to all this COVID situation?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was tough for the organizers. You know, there was a lot of people on the beach, but you know, everyone spread out along the beach. There wasn't really too much people coming really close together. And the guys did an amazing job. They really put a good event together, and to have the IBC backing it, which, you know, obviously having an event in South Africa and one of this kind of this level, it was really cool to have them a part of that. And I feel like they made the right calls to run it and to kind of have it on a Saturday. It just allowed, you know, a really big crowd, and it was just good to see everyone down on the beach and to have a bodyboarding competition in these times, which we've missed out for about, you know, 16 months now.
Esperemos que tenham gostado desta conversa com o Iain Campbell, e antes de avançarmos, deixem-me falar-vos sobre a nossa nova parceria. A LongWave é o nosso novo parceiro de roupa, de vestuário. Eles que são uma marca portuguesa e que apoiam o surf e o bodyboard nacional. Eles primam ainda pela qualidade, portanto, quem tiver precisado de nova roupa, vão até ao Instagram da LongWave. Nós vamos deixar o link aqui em baixo na descrição deste vídeo para poderem visitar e conhecerem um pouco mais sobre esta marca.
Então galera, agora passando para as apostas do último vídeo. Eu não queria falar sobre isso, que eu errei as duas apostas. Eu só acertei que o Iain Campbell ia estar na final, então eu ganhei 10 pontos. Já o Fábio, né? Fala aí, Fábio.
É verdade, o João queria fugir a este assunto, mas as apostas estão publicadas, estão feitas, e portanto temos que falar delas. Eu fiquei em primeiro lugar desta vez. A minha aposta no Jared Houston em segundo deu-me 30 pontos e assim fiquei em primeiro lugar no ranking de reverse apostas. A não ser que alguém aí em casa tenha feito uma escolha melhor que a minha. Vamos lá ver isso. Comentem aqui em baixo, deixem-me saber se realmente estou em primeiro ou se alguém ultrapassou nestas apostas. Nós vamos ficando por aqui, mas vemos muito em breve, já na primeira etapa do Circuito Nacional de Bodyboard, que será em Aveiro, no último fim de semana de agosto. Até lá, não se esqueçam de subscrever, se gostaram deste vídeo e de partilhar com os vossos amigos.